already. Bring your shame. Bring all of yourself to me. I have the space. Bring your beauty and bring your love. Bring all of yourself to me. You are already enough.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ah la 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 ya la, ah la 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 ya la, ah la 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 ya la, ya la ya la ya la la, ah la ya la ya la la, ah la ya la la ya la, ah la ya la. Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov. We're entering a new month, a new Jewish month today. So happy new month. Thank you. And welcome to each of you as we celebrate this sweet morning and as we celebrate Levi becoming Bar Mitzvah. Mazal Tov. And Mazal Tov and welcome to each of you who is here, whether this is your regular place to be on a Shabbat morning or whether this is your first time here at Shir Tikva. Welcome to those of you who are here on 50th Street, and welcome to all of you streaming in. Hello. Can we just take a moment and wave and say hi? We're so glad to be in this minyan all together. If you're at home streaming in, I really want to encourage you to take this time to introduce yourself in the comments, in the chat, and to send your wishes, your well wishes to Levi. Know that they will be able to go back and read the chat after the service. And so don't miss your chance. This is your chance to say such sweet and wonderful things to Levi and to his family, and to welcome Levi into Jewish adulthood. Welcome. So a few things about the service and about how we do Shabbat and how we celebrate Bar Mitzvah here at Shir Tikva. First of all, this is a celebration. This is a celebration, which means we get to be a little noisy. We get to be a little loose. We get to be a little joyous. We get to bring ourselves exactly as we are to this moment. And I mean that. That means that if you are whatever age you are and you're making a little noise, that's okay. You're welcome. We all pray in our own way, and so please don't stress out. This is a space where kids of all ages are welcome to make the noises that we make. You're also invited to participate. If you're like, this is my first time in a Jewish space, I'm not sure how to participate, I've never seen this alphabet before, that's okay. You're welcome. You're welcome, and any way you participate and find your way in is welcome. So that means if you want to read along in the transliteration and sing with us, even if this is your first time hearing melodies, great. If you want to say yai dadai, which is Yiddish for la la la, do that, right? If you want to just breathe and be in the moment and pray from your heart, please do. But no, this is communal prayer. We pray in a minyan, right? We pray in community, and part of what we're celebrating today is Levi's counting in a minyan. Levi, this is your first day where you are officially counted as a full member of our community, and we are so, so, so thrilled to get to call you and to get to call you teacher of Torah. The other thing I just want to say is a word about Shabbat. Shabbat is our day of rest. Shabbat is a day that is different from every other day of the week, and the way that we mark that is by resting. And so what I want to invite you to do today is try to find a way to remind yourself, I'm here, there's nowhere I have to go. And one of the really easy ways to do that is to turn off your cell phone. Which is, I know I said that like a suggestion, but it's really more of a recommendation. Please turn off your cell phones, or at least turn them to silent, so that way you can be present here. And if you're at home, feel free to close other tabs, close your email, just make sure you're here. We're all here in this moment with Levi, with Tova, with Zach. We're here in this moment, ready to celebrate, ready to enter this sweet, sweet morning. So let's take a breath together. Welcome to family from near and far. It is so good to have you here. We're going to sing our opening song one more time, because I think it's going to be a great chance for us to just feel what it feels like to all of us sing in space. And this is one of those songs that has no words, so you have no excuses. Ya la 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 ya la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 ya la, ya la ya la la ya la. Allah, 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 So it's my joy to invite Uncle Craig Potchinsky up to the bima, who will offer 2 readings on behalf of Grandma Peggy. All readings can be found in your program.
Just one. Do I hold that or do this? Hi, Alina. From the book Your True Home by Thich Nhat Hanh. One contains all. When you touch one thing with deep awareness, you touch everything. The same is true of time. When you touch one moment with deep awareness, you touch all moments. According to the Avatamsaka Sutra, the one contains the all. If you live one moment deeply, that moment contains all the past and all the future in it.
So we continue together on page 68 as we sing out in gratitude this morning. Modani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta binishmati b'chesed I'm going to invite Levi's Bubby to come up and present him with his talit.
Levi, as I place this talit on you, I remember 5 generations of Potchinskys that I've known personally. Your great-great-grandfather Samuel, your great-great-grandfather Abe, your grandfather Philip, and your father Zachary, who are all lived their lives according to Jewish law and were very aware and loved Israel. Although they weren't religious, they had a love of Judaism. And I know on your Bar Mitzvah today, you'll do them justice and proudly be a Jew throughout what I hope will be a long and happy life. I love you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. We continue together on page 74. Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Vani berov chastecha, avo veitecha, eshtacha קודשך ביראתך, אדוני אהבתי מעון ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך, משכן כבודך. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. We continue on page 78. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי שנתת בי טהורה היא, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא. I'd love to invite Levi's sister Abrin to join us here on the bima for our second reading.
Here's a beautiful poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson on the meaning of living and a successful life. What is success? To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, this is to have succeeded. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Let's continue together on page 100. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, el bekodsho. Hallelujah, birkia uzo. Hallelujah, bigvurotav. Hallelujah, kirov kulo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, beteka shofar. Hallelujah, benevel vechinor. Hallelujah, betof umachol. Hallelujah, beminim veugav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, betzilzelei shama. Hallelujah, betzilzelei trua. Kol hanshama te'alel ya. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama te'alel ya. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama te'alel ya. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I invite us to rise in body and in spirit on page 108 as Levi calls us to prayer.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach
be seated. We turn together to page 110 as we bless creation. And in this hinge of a season between summer and fall, we bless both these long days that we're enjoying and also the longer nights that we know inevitably are coming. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorech choshech oseh shalom uvoreh et hakol Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer Shalom uvoreh et hakol. And at the bottom of this paragraph, Or chadash al Zion ta'ir, v'nizkechu lanu meira leoro, Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hameorot. I invite you to rise, as is your custom, on page 114 for the Shema.
Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. We continue on the next page. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue together on page 122 as we sing Micha Mocha, these words from Torah, which are a song of moving from the narrowest places into an expanse. And my goodness, I wonder for how many of us right now we feel like we're traversing some sort of narrows, and may this song help us carry through into a place of more spaciousness and possibility. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 I la la ya la 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 I la la ya la 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi chamocha neda b'kodesh נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך לשפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, It's my joy to invite a whole tangle of cousins, Charlotte and Amira and Alaya and Nathan and Sarah and Caitlin and Riley, to join me here, the Bima, to offer a reading. Come on down, cousins. Who is reading first? So can you stand in order so you know exactly? Okay, so let's have the first person sit here. Let's just get you all in order. Who's the second reader? Who's the third reader? I'm. Okay, can you come stand right here? Who's the fourth reader? Who's the fourth? And you're the fourth? Who's the fifth? Great. We're in order? Perfect. Take it away.
For the rebels and the misfits, the black sheep and the outsiders. For the refugees, the orphans, the scapegoats, and the weirdos. For the uprooted, the abandoned, and the shunned, and invisible ones.
May you recognize with increasing vividness that you know what you know.
May you give up your alliance to self-doubt, meekness, and hesitation.
May you be willing. May you be willing to be unlikable and in the process be utterly loved.
May you be impervious to the wrongful projections of others, and may you deliver disagreements with precision and grace. May you see with the consummate with clarity. May you see with the consummate clarity of nature moving through you that your voice is not only necessary but desperately needed to sing out of this muddle.
May you feel shored up, supported, entwined, and reassured as you offer yourself and your gifts to the world.
May you know for certain that even as you stand by yourself, you are not alone.
And now all of us who are not already your cousins want to be your cousins. Yesher Koach family.
We've got plenty of room.
We'll put out a sign-up sheet later. So folks, we have this time now for personal prayer, and I think this group of cousins so beautifully modeled for us how words that we don't write can actually elicit our own blessings, right? That the poetry of the world and the gift of liturgy is that it can actually beckon forth our own yearning, our own wishes. And so as we take these moments for personal prayer in quiet, we'll begin singing aloud, and I'll invite you to rise, and then there will be moments of delicious quiet, as much as we can manage, where you are welcome to use the words of the Siddur and the words of your heart to find a few moments of honest contemplation and quiet, and we'll come back together on page 142 in song. But please rise in body and spirit on 124 as we begin. We'll face this way.
Adonai
Sefataytika Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו נשעני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם. אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור. לדור ודור. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. You may be seated. Now it's my joy, and actually you can go be seated for a second too, Levi. It's my joy to invite up Levi's family and friends, a select group of family and friends, to come and sing a song, an anthem for Levi's Bar Mitzvah, the words of which you can find in your program.
Your heartbeat pulses to the rhythm of freedom. Your smile presses on the soul of the world. Your voice an echo ever calling me to come and know myself in this place unexplored. You've been alive in darkened places. Teach me what grace is, and to trust in the soul I've become. Oh, the magic of you and your heart's many faces, teaching to me my own wisdom. You said bring your intensity, bring your shame, bring all of yourself to me. I have the space. Bring your beauty and bring your love. Bring all of yourself to me. You are already enough.
And you guys are welcome to join on this next one.
Bring your intensity. Bring your shame. Bring all of yourself to me. I have the space. Bring your beauty and bring your love. Bring all of yourself to me. You are already enough.
Already enough. Already enough. So beautiful, so beautiful. So let's just take a breath now here on the threshold of our Torah service. Thank you so much for lofting us with that message. We are already enough. So I'm going to invite, please, up to the bima to join me, Levi's grandparents, his aunts and uncles, his parents, and Levi. I'm going to invite the entire community to rise, and I'm going to bring the Torah out from the ark, and his grandparents and godparents and parents will have a chance to just broadcast into Torah, to just plant in Torah the seeds of what they hope Levi is receiving. So I'm going to invite godparents and grandparents and parents to please join me here and form the line. Call you by name so you know exactly who you are. I'm going to invite up Maxine and David and Peggy and Courtney and Stephen and Merle and Jeremy and Tova and Zach and Levi. Yes, we'll go stand with them. So there's enough room for everyone in the line. So Levi, why don't you come down a little bit this way? You'll face this way. You'll face the community, and I'll come around. So as Levi and his parents come around to bring Torah to the people, I'm going to invite godparents and grandparents to go sit down, Yesher Koach, and I invite the rest of the community to remain standing to greet Torah. Yalai, 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 alai, 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 ay, alai, ay, ay, lai, lai, ay, ay, lai, lai, ay, ay, lai, lai. Can you come on this side? Lai, 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 ay, 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 yalai, alai, lai, yalai, alai, lai, alai, alai, lai, alalai, alalai, alai, alai, lai, I la la la, I la I You may all be seated. And we talk a lot on Shabbat about the Shabbat bride who comes to visit us as we welcome. We think about Shabbat angels who protect us during Shabbat. And I'm just going to say, our Shabbat angel just arrived. Sheila has just arrived back in the space. And so I just want us all, we don't need to know why Sheila's a Shabbat angel, but let us all just please trust me. Sheila's a Shabbos angel, and let us just beam our love and our welcome as you settle. We are so happy you're here. So let's just take a moment. In just a moment, Levi is going to teach us Torah. He has been studying for the last months. He studied with me. He studied with Rabbi Joey. He studied with Forrest Yesnes, who is the director of our youth and family education program. He studied with his uncle Jeremy, who's a rabbi. He studied with so many people to be able to learn. And he studied with, of course, the incomparable Maggie Burton to learn and dig into Torah. And so there are all of these people that he's just been digging and learning and trying to figure out what does he make of this Torah portion. And now we get a chance to hear, to have... Say that again? So let's just take a moment, Levi. I'm going to invite you to teach your Torah with your mask off, so we can all hear you, reading slowly and clearly so we can follow every word, because every word is worth hearing.
Boker Tov Kulam, which means good morning, everyone. Today I will read some of the Parsha of Re'eh. This Parsha is about the rules to follow in the land of Israel. This includes rules for Passover, how to stay kosher, and what happens on the year of this or the year of that. My reading was a little bit hard to learn because of the new bit of the Hebrew that I had to learn, the tropes. But I've also learned a lot about the specifics of kashrut and Jewish laws, like how fish isn't included in the category of meat. I think that the rules on being kosher are particularly interesting, even though most of my family only observes it for holidays. So I don't have too much experience. These rules are interesting because of how specific and confusing they are simultaneously. For example, in my parsha and two others, it states, "You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk," which who knows what that means. Apparently it's just don't eat cheeseburgers. Or really, don't eat milk and meat together. After thinking about this, I have some questions. What is the purpose of this rule? Why do they make it so vague? As a Bar Mitzvah, I get to choose my own path to the answers instead of just finding what I find on Google and writing it down and saying it. My stance is that maybe these rules could have existed to prevent food poisoning, or maybe a better thing is that, another thing that it says in my portion is, this is a long quote, "You shall not partake of the blood, you shall pour it on the ground like water, as the blood is the soul, and you shall not partake of it with the flesh." This statement also might apply to the kid in its mother's milk scenario, and the milk could represent the animal's life and is not meant to be eaten. The translation from "you shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk" to "don't eat meat and dairy" is kind of strange. I phrase it like that instead of just saying don't eat meat and dairy together. It might be to future-proof, because they might not have had cheese or ice cream back then, and the vagueness makes it so that you have to think about what it actually means instead of just taking it for what it says. I've learned a lot about kashrut and the ideals in the Torah. I see why people would feel the need to practice these laws. They could have some good morality connected to them, like that the life of the food matters and should be acknowledged while eating and preparing that food. I will see this view myself while eating and be thoughtful about what has helped me get that food. I've had a difficult but interesting nonetheless experience studying the Torah and kashrut. I'm glad I did it all. It was worth it. Shabbat shalom.
Yeshua. So I'm going to invite Levi's tutor Maggie to join us here on the bima as we get ready to hear Levi chant. The words to the Torah that Levi will be reading are found in your program. Maggie. For the first Aliyah, it's my joy to call up Levi's teachers, people who have helped shape Levi's life, his conception of the world. So I invite you in this moment, all of you teachers, please, to join us here. Yamdu kol hamorim umorot l'aliyah rishona.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Re'eh Anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha uklala et habracha asher tishme'u al mitzvot Adonai Elokechem asher Anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom v'haklala im lo tishme'u al mitzvot Adonai Elokechem v'sartem min haderech asher Anochi metzaveh etchem hayom lalechet acharei Elohim acharim asher lo yadatem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, Matan Bechohenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. So before we chant the second aliyah, I'm going to invite at least one representative from this amazing group of teachers to stay with us here, and we're going to pray for healing at this moment. So I'm going to invite us to close the prayer. So I invite you please to call to mind those who are in need of healing, and healing of body and healing of spirit. When I pause, I invite you to share their names aloud in one large, just let us hear all of their names in cacophony together. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Please offer names at this time. Yehudi David. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם ולרפאותם ולחזיקם, וישלח להם רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר Amen. For the second aliyah, I call up Levi's cousins, Yamdu kol b'nei dodim, Benot dodot l'aliyah shniya. Come on down.
You did it.
I can do it with you. We'll start here.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Kol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. V'haya ki yiviacha Adonai Elohecha al haaretz asher ata v'shama l'rishta v'natata et habracha al har gerizim v'taklala al har eval Halohema be'ever hayardain acharei derech mevo hashemesh be'eretz hakanaani hayoshev ba'arava mul hagilgal etzel elonei moreh ki atem ovrim et hayardain lavo lareshet et haaretz asher Adonai Elohechem noten lachem Rishtem otav vishavtem ba, Ushmartem lasot et kol hachukim ve'et mishpatim asher anochi noten lifnechem hayom. No, noten lifnechem hayom.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu gamrat hamet, v'yei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. So I'll invite a cousin to stay up here with us for the next aliyah, and the rest of you can go sit down.
I'll do it.
All right, thank you. The rest of you may be seated. Thanks so much.
Do you want this?
I'll hold on to this. Thank you so much. You go to that side. If you just stand on the other side of Maggie, that'd be great. For the third aliyah, it's my joy to call Levi's grandparents and godparents to the bima. Yamdu, 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 המשפחה של ליבי לעלייה השלישית.
You stay near me. You stay near me.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach, Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam vaed, Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam vaed, Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ele hachukim v'hamishpatim asher tishmerun la'asot ba'aretz asher natan Adonai Elohei avotecha lecha l'rishta kol hayamim asher atem chayim al ha'adamah Abed Tabdun et kol hamakomot asher avdu sham hagoyim asher atem rishim otam et Elohim al harim haramim ve'al hagvaot v'tachat kol eitz ra'anan v'nitatz tem et mizvechotam, v'shibartam, et matzevotam, va'asherehem, tisrafun ba'esh, ufsilei elhehem, tigadeun, v'ibajtem et shemam, min hamakam hahu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah b'nei, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. Yasher koach. If there's a member of this aliyah that would like to stay as a representative, I invite you to go sit down. Thank you so much. Yes, you may sit down. Yasher koach. For the fourth aliyah, it's my joy to call Levi's parents, Tova and Zachary, to the bima. Yamdu Zechariah ben Peretz u'Malka Yudis v'Tova bat David v'Margaret l'aliyah revi'it. Here you go.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lo ta'asun ken Adonai Elohechem ki im el hamakom asher yichar Adonai Elohechem mikol shiftechem v'asum et shmo sham v'shichno tidrushu uvata shama v'havetem shama olotechem v'zivchechem v'et masrotechem v'et terumach yetchem v'nidrechem v'nidvotechem uvchorot bekarchem v'tzonchem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah b'emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. So So I'm going to invite both of you to stay here and to stand on either side of Levi, forgive me, as I call Levi, here I can hold on to this. Levi, here you go. As I call Levi to Torah, to bless Torah as an adult and to read your final aliyah. Yamod, Yamod, Bechor Bar Mitzvah, Levi Avraham Yonatan, Ben Tova Uzecharia, Lalia Chamishit. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol HaAmin V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Or no. Hang on, let me try again. Amen. This is the wrong paragraph, I think. Oh, no, it is. Va'achaltem sham lifnei Adonai Elahechem usmachtem bechol mishlach yedchem ve'et atem uvatechem asher brachacha Adonai Elohecha lo ta'asun kein Adonai Elohecha lo ta'asun kecha asher anachnu osim po hayom ish kol hayashar be'einav ki lo vatem ad ata et Elohim El hamenucha va'ol hanachala asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
I've been hearing the excited rustling in the crowd, so I know you know what time it is. You're invited to loft tiny sour things in the air, like the blessings you wish for Levi as we sing. Siman tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, siman tova, siman tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, siman tova, siman tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, siman tova. Come and get candy. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulecho Yisrael. Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulecho Yisrael. You're invited to come up and collect candy if you want to. Without any embarrassment, this is you're doing us a favor, so please come grab some candy. I know you just threw it, but come get it. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ay ay ay. Ya la la ya la ya la ya. Ay la 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 la. You may be seated. If you're at home, I invite you, please. I invite you to share sweet virtual candy or blessings in the chat so that way Levi can read them later. I'm going to invite Uncle Dave and Uncle Stu to join me up here. I'm going to invite you to rise in a moment as the Torah is lifted. I'm going to invite you, if you want to eat candy, now is the time to open the wrapper, and then you're going to put the rest away for the rest of the service. So ready? All the opening you need to do, and then, here, ready? I'm going to count to 3. We're going to all open our candy, and then we're going to know more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That wasn't quite as satisfying as I was hoping for. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Better. Thank you. It's the Candy Orchestra. So here's what we'll do now. We're going to lift the Torah and then wrap the Torah. So this is our way of honoring Torah, this handwritten scroll, our sacred text, and then dressing the Torah to be ready to be put back in the ark. So I invite the community to rise in body and spirit. You may be seated. Thank you, Yasher Koach. Excellent. So Levi is now going to chant, to bless and chant his Haftorah, this additional prophetic reading that we read on Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzah b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Hine anochi barati charash nofeach be'esh pecham u'motzi chli l'ma'asehu v'anochi barati mashchit v'chabel kol chli yutzar alaych lo yitzlach v'kol lashon tekumitach lamishpat tarshi zot nachalat avdei Adonai v'tzidkatam me'iti ne'um Adonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik b'kol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'makayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah v'al hanvi'im Ba'al yom ha-shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu l'kedusha v'linucha l'chavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi chol chai Tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Yasher Koach. So I'm going to invite our community to rise in body and spirit as we return the Torah to the Ark. Etz Chaim Lamazikim Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. You may be seated.
Bless you. After all this, I'd like to give some thanks. I'd like to thank Maggie, my tutor, for helping me learn both my Haftorah and Torah portions, learn how to chant and what tropes mean, and a lot of the prayers. It would be impossible to do without her. I want to thank Barry and Lucy for teaching me Jewish laws, practices, holidays, people, and more, even during COVID, along with teaching me how to cooperate more with people. I'm going to thank Rabbi Ariel for helping me understand my portion, write my Devar Torah with that understanding. When Rabbi Ariel wasn't available, Rabbi Joey was there for me, and I'm thankful for that too. I'll thank my Uncle Jeremy, who's also a rabbi, who also helped me on my Devar Torah when I'm needing it. You can see a pattern with the Devar Torah. And it continues, I'm thanking Forrest for his help with the Devar Torah and teachings of Judaism. I'm going to thank my mom and dad for teaching me about the things I need to know in Judaism and help preparing this for me since before I was born. I'd like to thank my sister Auburn for helping and participating today. I'd like to thank all of my friends and family because they have always been there for me, supporting me. I'd like to thank all my classmates from Shir Tikva for learning everything I need to know along with me. And I'd like to thank everyone here just for being here. Couldn't do it if it weren't for all of you. Thank you.
I'm going to invite us. I know there's so much to be applauding, but actually just like to beam love or to like in a prayerful space, I just want to invite us to just like beam it out as opposed, or sparkle fingers, love it, but like we'll just hold it that way. I'm going to invite, because I know there's more applause to come, or there would be the instinct to applaud, as I invite Tova and Zach to come join us here to offer their blessings.
Okay.
Levi just said maybe I should go first. I said I was going to cry, and he said you'll cry anyway, so. I have my Kleenex. Okay. So before I share, I just want to take a moment. Come here. and let's take in all the people, all these people who are here for you, your friends, your family, your teachers. They all came here to support you. Let's just take it in. I feel so thankful for each and every one of you for being here with Levi today, with all of us. Levi, I am so deeply proud of you, and I'm in awe. You led us through such a wonderful service and teaching, and really made it your own with humor and presence. And so you are such a kind, empathetic person with so much integrity. You have a wonderful sense of justice and a very tender heart. You are good with animals, small children, and have a dedication to family. You have this deep, quiet ability to love people for who they are and understand. You seem to understand the context when people suffer. Like, oh, if someone had a bad day and they lost their temper, you'd say, oh, that's just how they do it. You would. I speak to this point in a moment. So the other thing that you do is you also know how to celebrate with them when there's a victory. You are always willing to try something, and even when you fall down, you get back up again, and this will serve you throughout your life. I'm so proud of your effort today. You really, really made this process your own. You took responsibility for your own learning. You set a schedule. You paced yourself very nicely, and you practiced almost every day. And I loved when you shared your process with me. Each small moment added up to this wonderful moment. And I really appreciate and respect that about you. So I want to say something about your integrity. I got a little lost, so I'm going to try to come back. So, for example, when you are doing your homework and it's late at night and it's hard to think and you ask for help and I give it to you with my words, in the morning, inevitably, you always say, I can't turn that in. Those are not my words. And you sit down and you correct it, or you tell the teacher, I need more time. You did this even with your Torah portion. You're like, those are not my words. You are named, so I'm going to switch. You are named for my Uncle John, Yonatan, who, like you, was very kind, cared about animals and nature, and was very hardworking. You are also named for your great-grandpa Abe, Avram. He came from Russia when he was 16, all by himself on a ship across the ocean. He left his sister and mother behind. They didn't arrive in the U.S. for another 20 years. I feel that shows a kind of fortitude, determination, and endurance that you also possess. Did you know that we picked Levi partly because your sister's idea of naming you Even or Seven didn't really fit? Yes, you did. We went with Levi because it meant united or joined in harmony. And I think this is really true of your nature, to include people, to see their struggles and their shortcomings for what they are and not who they are. It is a way your kindness and your ability to unite comes into action. And you're a really loyal friend. I remember, this kind of speaks to fortitude and also play. I remember when Grandma first had her stroke and she was learning to speak again, and you were about 2.5, and teaching her how to say ours, and you would say, "No, Grandma," You would always find ways to play cars with her in the hospital bed, too. We had so much fun in a super challenging situation. You've had a lot of challenges and losses in your 13 years. Your great-grandpa Leo, your grandpa Gene, COVID and all the changes and losses that have come with that. And somehow you have this ability to carry their memories and talk about them in such a tender way. You really carry them with you. And that somehow leaves me feeling their presence more vividly and their memories. I feel like I've learned that from you, to appreciate the time I do have with those I have loved and will love. And even now, all these years later, now that you're older, you are willing to show up with the same spirit. For example, when we go to Grandma's and to help with PT, you know how Grandma insists that we sing her a song. Like Rubber Ducky or My Favorite Things. What? Okay, My Favorite Things. I insisted on Rubber Ducky, I think. You and I sing together while she does her PT, and that moment when we're singing and we catch each other's eye, I catch yours and you catch mine. It just reminds, it's so sweet. You're so proud of Grandma and just delight in her. So, what I hope what I hope for you is a life filled with connection, love, support, kindness, humanity, and more love. And that you continue your love of learning. I want you to remember that you are loved and lovable exactly as you are. I want you to remember that the nature of the world is kind of imperfect and broken. And remember that in Judaism, we have tikkun olam, and that it is a mitzvah to repair the world, and that will just keep falling down and getting back up. And mostly, what I wish for you is a continued life of being yourself. I love you. I think so.
Thank you, Tova. That was lovely. I'm glad you found your words. So I made the rabbi a promise. I'm going to stick to the script. Our first meeting, she said, don't do anything or say anything embarrassing. So I'm going to try. If that doesn't work, it wasn't my intent. But some of the things that Tova said, I said in here as well. So it's a repeat, but I mean it just as much as she does. So I'll just read instead of, yeah. I'll read, stick to the script. So in retrospect, it's been many years in preparation for this day. Your immersion and dedication to learning Hebrew Torah began many years ago. In fact, as Torah said, it started before you were born. Yeah, we had this discussion before you were born, and here it is. So I think it's amazing. Thank you all for being here. This is great. You have conscientiously, willingly, and respectfully engaged in the arduous task of studying and practicing with teachers and mentors, all the while asking cogent and probing questions that reflect your curious and pragmatic nature. I know that I, your mom, and teachers have all marveled in your sense of duty and the spirit in which you embraced seemingly endless challenges involved along the way, including the Zoom time, which had its own life instead of challenges. Through all of it, you kept yourself mindful of the task at hand and graciously proceeded to meet the path before you. I am a very proud father. For these reasons and because of who you are, this is my time to kaveh publicly. And I am. I am also extremely fortunate to be a witness to your birth into adulthood. You set a very high bar, my friend. Very high. Yeah. I'll just say this as an aside, but one of my aspirations in life is to be more like you. I mean that, I do. That's one of my aspirations in life. Yeah, I'll quiet down now. When you were born, and we were deciding what names might work for you, Auburn chose Levi. You chose Levi, that's right. I wasn't a fan of it straight away for different reasons, but later when I looked it up and the meaning and history of it was revealed to me, I was immediately struck by it and how it resonated with you, even from the earliest days. It just fit who you are. He who joins others in harmony. Need I say more? Here we are, joined in harmony on your occasion. What a great and amazing thing that is, and how true it is for you. From day one, you would sleep in mom and dad's bed because the bassinet wasn't going to work for you. It didn't, ever. I called you the H factor because you always had to be sleeping in a horizontal direction relative to both of the vertical ones. And your head had to be touching one of us, and your feet had to be touching the other one, where the alarm would sound. If you, I remember that. If you lost contact, that's what would happen. You were what joined us all together to form the H, our human family. Although the form of this ritual has changed over time, the essence of it has never been lost. You are still the harmonizing H factor in our family life. Sticking to the script. I wrote it down. Whatever path you choose in life, no matter how you choose to include Judaism into that life, what I can say with certainty is that you will always be joining others in harmony and bridging people and communities towards a common and unified purpose. This is one of the gifts that you carry through this often broken world. May this virtue you embody contribute to the greater Tikkun Olam. May your life be a testament, service, and inspiration to the reparation and repairing of this place we call home together. Levi, this is about you. Almost done. Almost done. You are deep, but completely without pretense, smart, but always with humility, funny and dry in wit, whether you agree with me or not, but unassuming and inoffensive, unlike me. Self-motivated, I just threw that in, that was off the script. Self-motivated yet nonchalant about what goes into your creativity and and drive. Skipped a line. Sweet and thoughtful, yet lacking self-aggrandizement. Impeccable attention to detail, yet lost in the moment. Are a rule follower, but think outside the box. Have many interests, but are focused on one thing at a time. You bring your joy, your passion, your brilliance to everything you do. At the hub of this wheel, holding all the spokes together, is the love of life. You are a lover of life and an old and gracious soul. Only 8 more pages. 8 more. One of the greatest gifts my parents gave me was the opportunity and the space to allow myself to discover who I am, to make my own choices in life and to not back away from my own failures. I want to pass this along to you to have as a living legacy. Take up as much room in this world as you need to grow into more of who you are. Don't be fooled by the trickster who calls himself failure. There is no failure, only feedback. Let yourself be guided by this. When faced with challenges, know there is a greater part of you wanting to be born. Our emotional responses are the labor pains we endure as you grow and give birth to new life. Breathe, relax, and know you are not alone. There are many who love and care about you. Know who they are. We are here with you now. We are always with you. We are so proud of you. As a father, I can say without hesitation that the greatest joy in life is to bear witness to and to partake in the flowering of your soul. My wish for you is that all the love that has been bestowed upon you will take root and blossom in your life and be passed on to the next generation. You are a beautiful life to behold. L'chaim, Levi.
So I'm going to invite the 3 of you to be seated. Yesher koach, such beautiful words. So it's the custom here at Shir Tikva for our Bar Mitzvah students to get to ask their rabbi a question that we get to answer from the Bima. And Levi, it's been a real treat to get to learn with you these last months, your attention to detail and your interest in our tradition. Your beautiful chanting and your careful teaching are such gifts. And when it came time for you to ask me a question, Levi, you took your time. And then you came up with an amazing question. You asked me, why do we have emotions? Now, if I were a psychologist or I were an artist, I would answer this question using the tools of my craft. If I were a conflict mediator or a bus driver, I'd offer you my perspective based on what I see in the people around me and how it is that I navigate the world. And ask a rabbi why we have emotions, and I'm going to turn to the texts of our tradition to uncover responses to your thoughtful and provocative question. So in Torah, characters are frequently emotional. We read in Genesis about love and joy and fear and their opposites. And when God shows up in Torah, God is sometimes portrayed as acting out of compassion, and sometimes God is angry, and sometimes God is jealous. More than anything, Torah reminds people again and again, ve'ahavta, love your God, love the stranger, love your neighbor. The rabbis of Talmud talked a lot about emotion. The ideal emotional type, according to the rabbis, is one who controls their passions and is generally good-hearted, humble, and peace-loving. The rabbis even blamed the destruction of the Second Temple for the sin of unjustified hatred, sinat chinam. The rabbis of the Talmudic age and each generation that has come since have tried to develop our own strategies to help express and soften our emotions. Prayer, what we've been doing today, and much of our liturgy and poetry, the act of study, the act of ritual, become outlets for Jews to channel our emotion and express our emotion. The Hasidim, Jewish mystics, understood emotions as a gateway through which we come closer to God. Joy and trust and gratitude are the fuel for Jewish mystical experience. We need to actually feel, not to try to rationalize it away, believe the Hasidim. We can sing or pray or act from that honest, open, and broken-hearted place. So we're just entering the month of Elul, when we have the chance to reflect on what has happened in the year just past and what we have to learn for this year to come. We get to take responsibility for the ways we've fallen short, and we seek forgiveness from those we've harmed. Our emotions can be our teachers, helping us know where we need to do work, and our emotions can also be our obstacles. We can retreat when we feel hot, emotions like anger or hurt or shame. And in this season, Levi, our work is to notice where we can take action to soothe hurt feelings and to take care of ourselves in the places where we're feeling fragile or overextended. So emotions can get in our way. They can mislead us and also help us access the divine and become more ourselves. The difference is how we relate to our emotions, how we honor them and work to shift them where it's needed. Maybe we have emotions to remind us to pay attention to our particular truth, our perspective, even as we strive to connect with those around us. Our emotions, if they're tended to, can be a helpful barometer and help us connect with our intuition, our wisdom, and our potential. So thank you, Levi, for the chance to reflect on this. I'm really grateful I got to dig a lot. It's really a joy to celebrate with you. So I'm going to invite you and your parents and Rabbi Joey to join me here on the bima. I invite the community to rise. You may be seated. We turn to page 344 and we offer a blessing on new moments. I invite Abrin and Charlotte to join me up here for Shehechianu.
There is.
This family knows how to take its time. It's it's going to find exactly the moment, which I love. It's this is how we pray. It's just find the right moment. Yeah, this is your moment. Abrin, you're here. You did great.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimianu v'hikianu lazman hazeh.
We rise now on page 284 for Aleinu. V'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. We take this time now for Kadisha Tom, for Mourner's Kaddish. We remember Zach's dad, Zadie Philip Potchinsky, Grandpa Gene Frum, Great-Grandpa Leo Borgendale, Great-Uncle Jonathan Borgendale. And in our community, we're in Shloshim, we're in the first 30 days since the deaths of Frida Raver, beloved of Mary Small, Lois Weisberg, mother of Mark, and Mel Ornstein, father of John. And we observe the yahrzeits of Eva Bronstein, Trudy Engel, Mark Feshbach, Tom Foster, Rosalind Geffen, Jesse Gomez, Jay Gordon, Roberta Jackson, Irene Jesse Carling, Ida Lipton, Eliana Mariani, Christopher Rolson, Joseph Rubenstein, David Skadron, Penny Teichman, Dorothy Warm, Channing Weiner, and Rachel Wicks. Are there other names of people who have died this year, died recently, or died at this time in years past, whose names you'd like to share?
My dad, Harold Rosen, passed 20 years ago. And he was sweet and funny, and one of his favorite sayings was, if I had it any better, God would be jealous.
Amazing. I invite the community to rise in body and spirit on page 294, Kadisha Tom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich balchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen, yehei shmei rabbah mevorach leolam u'lamei almaya, Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen yehei shlam araba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring comfort to all those who mourn. Let us say together, amen. You may be seated. So I'm going to make a few announcements, and then I'm going to invite Barry Epstein up here to bless for one final round of blessings for Levi. So here we are at the cusp of lunch. What? Mazal Tov to Tova and Zach, and Mazal Tov to Levi. What a beautiful, beautiful teaching you offered, beautiful reading of Torah. Before we transition to lunch, what we're going to do, we need to do some transition in the space. And so there are a few things that I'm going to ask you. Please, when you go get your food, take all of your possessions with you. While you're on your way, please make sure that you take your prayer book and the program and bring them over to the back table. If you see a spare siddur that's not yours, but it's just lying there, please take it with you and bring it to the back table. That will really help us. We're going to be clearing space. We're going to do, for the first time in 3.5 years, what is famously known as the Shir Tikva Shuffle. So let's say it together. We're bringing it back. The Shir Tikva Shuffle. It has truly been since 2020 that we have undertaken this particular shuffle. So I'm going to explain what we're going to do. It's an approximation of the shuffle. I'm going to invite you, anyone who's able to help, please just push the chairs. No need to stack them. No need to create order, but just push the chairs to the margins of the room so we have space. The staff is going to be wheeling tables out to create an eating area inside. This is our first indoor meal since 2020. You are also, of course, welcome to bring your food outside if that would feel more comfortable, but you are welcome to stay inside. But the first thing we need to do is clear the chairs to the margins of the space so tables can come out, and if you're able to then help bring chairs back to the tables, that would be exceptionally helpful. If you're like, I don't think I can do that, or for whatever reason that's not possible, please just take your things and go out into the Oneg Hall, go out into the social hall, and we will begin lunch there. Sounds good? Wonderful. So I'm going to invite Barry to come up.
One last time. Shabbat Shalom. Here, I'll treat you. Levi, on behalf of Shir Tikva, I just want to thank you for your teachings and your beautiful chanting. I learned a lot about keeping kosher today. And I really loved your insights. It meant something to me. So thank you so much. If you don't know, I've taught Levi for 5 years. Long time. It's been a long time. And, pardon me?
Probably a world record.
Probably a world record. It might be. And Levi, I have really seen you grow over the years. And one thing that I've seen is how you're so present. So as you know, Levi, I always give a gift, and I have a challenge for you. And so the beautiful thing about you is you are our rock in our class. And I mean that in a very good way. You're always there, you always show up. And when I've asked you to do some really hard things, like remember I asked you during Hebrew to tutor some people? And it was hard, and you did it. You have always stepped up, and you've always been there. And what I would call, that is our tradition of radical hospitality. You are there for your peers. So my challenge to you, Levi, is that you continue this. Do you think you can continue it for people as old as I am, for people who are young, for babies? Look around. There's so many different people, and we want you to continue doing what you've been doing, is just being there in your own warm, loving, quiet way. So, as a reminder, you will be getting a name tag, and when you come to services, you can put it on and go, oh my gosh, I need to be a rock again for Shir Tikva. So, the other thing I have for you is, have you been to Israel?
No.
You will love Israel. You'll just go gaga over Israel. We've got some partial scholarships for you, and you will have so much fun, I know, and your love of Judaism is so alive in you that you'll just eat it up. So, mazel tov.
Thank you.
We seal our service with blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen l'chaim. Do you want a drink? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Mazal tov. So this is a wonderful time to greet your neighbor, grab your things, and help us move some chairs.